Hello, fellow parents and educators. Thank you for joining me at Education Evolution, where we are disrupting the status quo in today's learning models. We talk about present-day education, what's broken, who's fixing it, and how. I'm Dr. Maureen O'Shaughnessy, your host and founder of Education Evolution and the Microschool Coalition, where we are fiercely committed to changing the narrative, to reimagining the education landscape and creating learning that serves all children and prepares them to thrive. If you are new, welcome to the podcast. Please subscribe on our website to get it delivered to your inbox weekly. If you've been around a while, have you left a review? Want more options for our rainbow of learners? Ready to create a microschool, either within your larger school, as a pivot from your present organization, or from scratch? Parents, maybe you're the voice of change your school needs to highlight and grow a successful program. School administrators, perhaps you can use your vision to create a choice school within your district or grow an innovative model in your school into a school within a school option. Teachers, therapists, creative adults, maybe you want to team with a school to create an option or to open your own microschool. Getting clear on your purpose and structure is the key starting point you need to make any of these wonderful possibilities a reality. There are many paths, and today we'll get out of our autopilot when it comes to thinking of our children's learning. We'll use this how-to episode to help us think deeply about the learning our children receive and how we can create more options within existing schools or by starting our own. We usually create because we see an opportunity or a need. What's lighting you on fire? Do you have a passion you want embedded in a school? I'm deeply inspired by the innovators in my Build Your Microschool class. Let me share how they're framing their new microschools. See if there are any parallels to your vision. Maybe you're like Tracy in Texas, who wants hands-on building and learning for middle school and high school boys. Or like Sonia in New Jersey, who I interviewed in the previous podcast. She refuses to let families of color lack nutritious food and pivoted her New Jersey Bullock Garden project to add a nature-based K-6 microschool. Perhaps you see a gap. Yet another Build Your Microschool classmate is a cognitive and art therapist. Frustrated with how traditional schools can't offer more organic learning and help rewire the brain, she took her skills and experience and opened Untethered Minds in Florida. You can hear about Nana's amazing experiential microschool in episode 22. Not starting a school? We still need your voice to help education evolve. This process can help you evaluate the why behind where you choose to have your student learn. Or thinking through the ideas in this podcast could be the spark to get you to advocate for a school within a school in a larger school. Or maybe a public choice school in your district. Evolving education can happen in many ways and needs your voice and positive energy. Ask yourself these questions and make sure that the school you create or choose for your child matches both your values and how your child or children overall best learn. Let's get clear on that reason and use that vision to guide creating a microschool, choice school, or innovative school within a school. In my book, Creating Microschools for Colorful Mismatched Kids, Getting Clear is the first of 7 steps. If you're an idea person like I am, it's easy to want to have the 32 flavors of Baskin-Robbins, but you're not going to be able to be everything for everybody. So get clear. What are your priorities? I encourage school founders to do deep research and take notes and reflections in a journal. I list many examples in my book of school mission and vision statements that spark ideas. The Old Testament reminds us there is no new thing under the sun. So take inspirational ideas you find, blend them with your deepest wishes for your school, and you'll be putting pieces together in new ways. There's too much to do. Never start from scratch. In my Build Your Microschool class, I have class members reflect on and answer these 5 questions to focus their vision. First, what does a graduate of our school look like? It's really important to be reverse engineering, whether we're doing that for lesson planning or creating a new school. We have to know our destination before we start to map out our path. So I have the classmates list 10 descriptors for the profile of a student who successfully completes their program, and then rank the top 4. So 4 of our top descriptors at my microschool, Lead Prep, are that graduates are kind, self-directed, know their own strengths, and make a positive difference. How about your descriptors? A STEM creator, self-directed, activist, able to access and apply resources, design thinker. Play with this list of descriptors, put it on a large sheet of paper, and tape it in a prominent location. Come back to it over time and keep refining it. This reverse engineering picture of your legacy that you wish to leave is going to be the key driver in your vision. Second question, who will we serve? Can you list populations that are not served in your larger neighborhood? This gap analysis might help you find a need that your microschool can address. For Lead Prep, it was a personalized high school that lets students progress when they demonstrate competency, not a universal pace that most traditional schools follow. And also for Lead Prep, there was more room for student voice and choice, that agency in how they learn and ways they demonstrate mastery. So we wanted more options because there were kids not working in the lockstep process. It was too slow and boring. It was too just loads of minutia that they didn't want to do, or it was too fast and the gaps got bigger. So having kids progress as they demonstrate competency was something we wanted to offer. Get specific. List the grade levels you'll be teaching to. Determine if you want to start out with all grades or add a grade over time. Most schools start with a middle school might start with a 6th and 7th and add the 8th. We kind of did it backwards. We started with a high school, and then some parents said, would you please let the little brother in? And so then we added a 7th and 8th. And then we added a 6th, since Washington elementaries tend to end at the end of 5th grade. We didn't want there to be a gap. So you don't have to start with all the grades you plan to serve at once. Make it doable. And ideally, you start with the younger so that those kids progress into the older grades. That's the most typical way of adding on grades. Note the learning profile of your ideal student too. And to create clear boundaries, list student profiles you will not be able to serve. Because Lead Prep is a flipped school, we have mini lessons to go home, and then our kids take the learning and run it in school. It's learner directed. And so they all have to sign a participation contract because it's on them, and we're guiding and coaching, but we're not sitting and saying, turn to page 12 and take out your pencils. We're all going to take this test. So we need kids that will participate. And if there happen to be kids that are, say, oppositionally defiant and just want work to go home with them, that's not us. We do the work at school, and we need kids to participate and collaborate. So knowing who we aren't helps us to express that and to get the right population for what we can do. Third question, how will we serve them? In this time of pandemic, we're all looking for ways to meet physical safety and mental well-being. Explore which models are doing a good job of serving both for your targeted population of learners. For us, being a microschool, we knew that even though we were with the kids and doing creative things in the start of the pandemic, a lot of our kids needed that social contact. We were hoping to do all day outdoors, but it was too loud. Wi-Fi connections weren't adequate in our parking lots. So we have morning remote with Wi-Fi and quiet, and afternoons in person, with blended in afternoon remote time for kids that need to stay home all day. So that's the model that worked for us. Determine if you want to use traditional space, traditional scheduling. Note if your model will be blended like ours, partially online, and note your attendance expectations. Do kids just need to complete work and turn it in by a certain time? Or do you expect them in class at 9 o'clock every morning like we do at Lead Prep? If you're not starting a school and your child's in a larger school, maybe you can help that school create some of the options you're researching. There are so many ways to be a part of the needed solution, so get creative. The fourth question, ask yourself what affiliations you want. So you're going to determine if your school will be public or private, nonprofit, for-profit, aligned with a philosophy like Montessori or a religion or a network. Then you need to decide if you're going to want state approval or accreditation. The beauty of creating a school within a school is that the affiliation and infrastructure is already in place, as are resources and students. In fact, you may know of an amazing teacher who has a unique way of teaching that really connects with kids. I see that a lot in the flipped learning community. Very special teachers guiding learning, building relationships, and getting wonderful results. Can you team with that teacher and add a few more teachers to that philosophy and create a pod or a school within a school? Your voice and hard work could transform a one-off amazing class into a movement within a school. My doctoral studies included talking with innovative educators. They all confess that it's pretty lonely doing things differently and very difficult to be a prophet in one's own land. But you could elevate their important work and help it reach more teachers and students. Be bold here. If your kids had an amazing experience, how can you grow that so that more kids get that wonderful experience? Last question, what legacy will we leave? We all know we don't need more of the same. There are plenty of traditional assembly line schools, and those are serving some of our students. Visions need to be big and aspirational. Write a sentence describing how your school will be transforming learning. You've heard a lot in Education Evolution over the podcast about my microschool Lead Prep. So let's look more at the legacies of the 2 microschools being opened by fearless pioneers in my Build Your Microschool class. As I mentioned, Sonia Harris of the Bullock Garden Project in New Jersey, she was featured in episode 23. Her vision is nature-based. She and her team were already in the Bullock Garden Project, dedicated to building school gardens, creating sustainable agriculture, and incorporating garden education to promote academic growth in children, to promote health and wellness, to expose kids to healthy organic food, and to help them attain a connection between education and farming to support a sustainable lifestyle. So they had a really solid mission and were really making a difference. And now if you go to that site, you'll see their pivot. Their nonprofit has pivoted and it says, "Welcome to a new educational program brought to you by the BGP, Bullock Garden Project." And they note, "We are trailblazers in the education field and realize that COVID-19 has put a considerable strain on the way traditional schools operate. It's important for children to be involved in their learning, have the opportunity to explore and connect with their environment, and be encouraged by their peers. We want every family involved with our program to have pride in this unique learning environment and take comfort in knowing that their children are safe, cared for, and included." And that's the beginning of their place, their Discovery Learning Center. It's amazing. Their vision, their legacy, huge. Let me also look at Nana's. Nana Campana of the Paper Treehouse pivoted to create Untethered Minds, and I interviewed her in episode 22. Nana firmly believes many learning differences and labels are not permanent, and the legacy she is leaving is to debunk that permanence mentality. She is on fire with this passion, and she challenges, how would it feel to be able to empower your child to reach what many have said she could never accomplish. And with her background as a cognition therapist, she knows a lot about the brain. She teaches us that research shows us that the brain grows and develops when it struggles. But then she notes that in spite of this, we tend to avoid struggles at all costs. So she says that whether your child is gifted or struggles with a learning disability, there is always room to challenge his or her brain to grow and improve in order to achieve the unimaginable. Who wouldn't want to have these two fantastic learning options available in their community? So look at these 5 steps, these 5 questions you can ask yourself on getting clear. This is the first step of creating a new school or school within a school. From here, you can create a name, you can build your components into a mission statement. There are lots of steps from this foundation. If you want school change, please take time to dream and then to move your dream forward. Our rainbow of learners are waiting for you. If you're finding yourself thinking, I need to do this in my school, let's talk about it. I consult with schools to help them find new, innovative solutions to reaching every student. Let's put together an action plan. Visit educationevolution.org/consult to book a call and let's get started. Education Evolution listeners, you are the ones to ensure we create classrooms where each student is seen, heard, valued, and thriving. We need you. Let's go out and reach every student today. I'd be so grateful if you'd head over to your podcast app to give a great rating and review if you found this episode valuable. Don't wait. Please do it right now before you forget. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Signing off, I am Maureen O'Shaughnessy, your partner in Boldly Reimagining Education.